I'm sorry, but how can one possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it? In this world, perhaps. But in my world, the books will be nothing but pictures.
Alright, so social media and Facebook kind of resembles Alice's picture book from Alice in Wonderland. You see, Alice in Wonderland, in that movie, Alice says that in her world, the books would be nothing but pictures. And so we know that social media and Facebook, fills our head with picture after picture of people and places and news and all sorts of different media coming from all sorts of different directions. Now, it's not all pictures, it's got words, but it bears a weird resemblance to sort of how Alice was talking about her picture book. Now, obviously, social media and Facebook is not just good and it's not just bad. It can, be used to pacify you or keep you lazy. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. The people who've created it may have their own agenda in place, and our agenda might not be the same as theirs. We don't have to use their sites with their agenda in mind. We don't have to play into that agenda, whatever it may be, sinister or not. But we do have to take into account what that agenda is. And we do have to be consciously aware of what people are trying to get out of us. So, if you're new to this channel, and this is now my second video, and I call these things layer by layer films because everything means something. So in this discussion, I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to be using anagrams. Anagrams are you take a series of words and you type them into anagrammer.com, or you just could anagram them yourselves and make them into as many different words as you can to see what these secret meanings to these words could possibly be. So for instance, Facebook, if I type in Facebook, it'll give me different anagrams like Cafe Boko or Cafe Kobo, which I'll discuss later. And I found out about all these anagrams, and I won't only be using anagrams, I'll be talking about colors and linking it up with Freemasonry and discussing a bunch of different connections because there's always a bunch of layers, and then from all this you can form your own opinion and do your own thing with it. So Jason James, who runs a YouTube channel called Polarization Nation Media, he has this thing called unified code theory. Now, he made it up, and he rediscovered sort of that Isaac Newton was, using anagrams to decode the entire universe, basically. And so he himself does lots of amazing decoding work, and I am a fan of his work, and I have decided to incorporate anagrams into my own work. Now, Jason James had found a headline about President Trump, which read, "Trump meets with Harvey survivors in Houston." And in quotations it says, "We're very happy with the way everything is going." So of course Jason James, being the decoder that he is, decided that he would anagram that quote, "We're very happy with the way everything is going." And so he anagrammed it, and he came up with 3 pennyworth. Which Jason James then went on to refer to Donald as the 3 pennyworth president, which is going to be significant because, like I said, the Facebook anagrams, Cafe Kobo, Kobo meaning penny. So, penny cafe, Cafe Kobo, penny cafe. So Jason James went on to refer to Donald Trump as the 3 pennyworth president. And this relates to my research that my girlfriend and I did on the Facebook website and Alice's Desire for a World where all the books have only pictures. We kind of figured that social media and this whole Alice picture book definitely seem to have a lot of things in common. So, obviously you have the quote, "A penny for your thoughts." Well, over at the Cafe Kobo, which is the penny cafe, it's an anagram for Facebook, Cafe Kobo, where Kobo is 1/100th of a monetary unit of Nigerian money. where a naira would be one monetary unit of Nigerian money, a kobo is 1/100th, so equal to basically a penny of ours. And so I thought that that was very interesting, with Jason James anagramming headlines about Donald Trump and referring to Donald Trump as a 3-pennyworth president. I found in my own research that, the penny cafe that Facebook seems to be, with that cafe kobo meaning penny, was very interesting, where, everybody, Facebook is a penny cafe where everyone puts in their 2 cents, another penny reference, penny connection. They put in their 2 cents on their timelines. And I thought, interestingly enough, that Cafe Kobo, which is also Cafe Boko, B-O-K-O. So now you have Cafe Boko. Boko is a Hausa or Nigerian word. So you got Kobo, which is a Nigerian, 1/100th of a Nigerian unit of currency. And you have Boko, which is a Hausa Nigerian word with meanings such as fraud or inauthenticity. I thought that was very interesting. So we got the Cafe Boko and the Cafe Kobo. The penny cafe, where they're Cafe Boko, which means they have entertainment, which is inauthentic, fraudulent. It could be deceptive. So Paul Newman, a professor emeritus in linguistics at Indiana University, says the Nigerian word Hausa, the Hausa word Boko, is a word that came to be applied to a century-old British colonial education policy that many Hausa speakers saw as an attempt to colonize their minds. What? Colonize their minds? So this word Boko is linked to what Nigerians called Western education's attempt to colonize their minds. Like Facebook and social media colonizes our minds, whether we like it or not, whether we think it's doing that or not. Whether it's a narcissistic person on our Facebook sort of taking pictures and pretending their life is perfect, or, it's a series of media outlets blasting on our timeline, or, writing all over our walls, they are colonizing our minds. So that's interesting that, these anagrams are seeming to really be connected to Facebook and social media, and our theory about Alice's picture book. So whether it meant to do this or not, Facebook and Twitter and other social media sites have clearly colonized our minds. Interestingly enough, the Hausa word Boko is usually preceded with Karatun, K-A-R-A-T-U-N, Karatun. So Karatun Boko, which means Western education. Is Facebook giving us a Western education? Is Facebook giving us a bunch of pictures? Is that what Western education or our education is now is? Is our education now a bunch of pictures, coded or random pictures, meaning coded media or just random pictures taken by people down the street? Could this be Alice's picture book? A nonsensical, as we know, Alice said her world would be nothing but nonsense. Everything would be what it is, nothing would be what it is, and everything would be what it isn't. So a nonsensical wall, full of pictures and writing, set to distract us like the entertainment at a local cafe, Cafe Boko or Cafe Kobo. So our penny cafe, or our Cafe Kobo, which is our penny cafe, which is Boko, which is a deceptive show. It's a giant sham set to pacify those willing to be pacified or too unaware to realize the effects of these useful but often carelessly used platforms on our minds. They are colonizing our minds. And it's not always a bad thing. But if we're unaware that somebody is colonizing our mind, then we are also unaware of the effects that it has, and we are powerless to stop it if we don't know what it's doing to us. If we have no conscious awareness of what the coded media, of what the nonsensical random pictures from the people down the street is actually doing to us, our time, our lifestyle. Interestingly enough, social media sites use the color blue. Twitter, MySpace used to use it, and Facebook, right? So blue, the color blue, is said to have a pacifying effect on the nervous system and mental attitude. That's according to Frank Don, the author of Color Magic. So he's saying that blue has a pacifying effect. So for better or worse, its ability to pacify us puts us in a state where we are not in conscious control. That's a little scary. Blue is associated with the throat chakra. Obviously, we use our throat to communicate. The chakra is associated with communication. When your throat chakra is blocked up or you're having a physical problem with your throat, usually it's said that you're having a problem communicating your truth. So, blue is associated with the throat chakra, which isn't surprising, seeing the throat is linked with communication, and we use social media to communicate and throw in our 2 cents. We scroll through and read the writing on the wall, so to speak, the Facebook wall. So blue is also associated with the note G, specifically the middle G, like the G in the middle of a piano, sort of like the letter G is in the middle of the Masonic square and compass. Why is this significant? It's significant because we have the CEO of Facebook, named Mark Zuckerberg. Jordan Maxwell, who is a researcher, a speaker, and an authority on theology and occult symbolism, said the first 3 degrees of Masonry are said to be the blue degrees. We have Facebook, Twitter, and the old MySpace logo being blue. All these social media sites. So the first 3 degrees of Masonry are the blue degrees. We have Mark Zuckerberg as the owner or CEO of Facebook. Facebook's logo is blue, Twitter blue, MySpace blue, and the 4th degree of Masonry, ironically enough, is called Mark Mason, the Mark Master 4th degree. So wait a minute, you're telling me that the Mark Master 4th degree comes right after the blue degrees, Facebook is blue, and Mark Zuckerberg is clearly, the name Mark at least, bears a resemblance to the degree that comes right after the 3 blue degrees, the first 3 degrees of Masonry. Well, what's the real connection here, Jay, with Freemasonry? Well, here's the connection. Mark Zuckerberg, a Mark Master, blue Facebook, Mark Masonry, coming after the first 3 degrees, right? And obviously then you can see how Jordan Maxwell stating that the blue degrees of Freemasonry, and then we have Mark Masonry coming right after it. So we got the color blue correlating to the musical note G. Now that makes a lot more sense. The musical note G in the middle of the square and compass, the Freemasonic square and compass, in the middle G, specifically, according to Frank Don, or it might be according to Raymond Buckland actually, being the color associated with that middle G, blue. So oddly enough, in The Social Network, the movie made about Mark Zuckerberg and the whole invention of Facebook, or rather, coming up with Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is obsessed with finals clubs. So in particular, the Harvard fraternities called the Porcellian and the Phoenix. The Porcellian itself being equated to Yale's Skull and Bones, which is also linked to Freemasonry. So the Porcellian as well is mysterious, and thus Facebook itself, right, could have been and probably truly was secretly engineered by the very fraternities and mysterious organizations that the Social Network, the movie, makes a point of disassociating with Mark Zuckerberg's character in that film. So they're basically disassociating Mark Zuckerberg with that character. With those finals clubs. Because they're saying that he basically stole the idea from the Winklevoss, who were members of the Porcellian, which is equated to Yale's Skull and Bones, only at Harvard. So why would they make such a big fuss about disassociating Mark from those groups in the movie that they come out with? Kind of had a lot to do with finals clubs, seeing, he was sued by people who were in those finals clubs, and he was very obsessed with getting into them. So Facebook and other social media sites are not good or bad, but their owners/creators' true agendas may not be in the best interest, and our lack of wisdom and understanding could keep us playing into their agenda rather than using these platforms with discipline and conscious awareness. So we need to recognize them as a tool that can do great good or great bad. If we lack the ability to see through the boko, remember boko as, cafe boko, the deceptive entertainment, then we could find ourselves participants unconsciously in the giant Facebook koofbake. Koofbake being another of Facebook's anagrams. Koof meaning a silly or stupid person, and bake obviously meaning to make or cook by dry heat. So Facebook is baking koofs at their cafe kobo. So at their penny cafe, they're baking or making silly or stupid people by indoctrinating them with their boko, their deceit, their fraud, their deceptive entertainment, using their Alice-style picture book at their cafe kobo or their penny cafe, where we all put our 2 cents in but fail to see the writing on the wall. That its deceptive agenda and pacifying abilities can leave us subject to the world around us rather than consciously in control of our lives. We have to study. We have to question everything. Social media could very well be Alice's picture book. It sure seems like it, and the world around us grows more and more nonsensical as political correctness is cutting off individual expression. Of course, a lot of this is food for thought, so don't take my word for it. But I'm still learning, and you should still be learning too. And as we all continue to learn and form our own opinions based on information and our reconciliation of that information, we can further piece together the puzzle we've been given. So until next time.
Alice, will you kindly pay attention to your history lesson? I'm sorry, but how can one possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it? In this world, perhaps. But in my world, the books will be nothing but pictures. But in my world, the books will be nothing